All right, picking back up with love, unconditional love. So Paul makes the comparisons between love and everything else. So having the mysteries, all understanding, speaking with tongues of angels, yada yada yada, doing all these different things. Paul talks about doing all those things and not having love. He talks about prophesying in part, all these things in part, and then when that which is perfect comes, those things which in part being done away. He also talks about being known or being a child and being a man, being seen in the mirror in part or in darkly, and then being known even as you are known, and then being a child versus being a man. So being a man, knowing as you are known, speaking the tongues and all that stuff, and having love and that which is perfect is all synonymous with love, unconditional love, the agape love that God has, that God shows. So that's when I realized, as I'm reading that, that's when I remembered what God had said to me in the dream. Love was synonymous with, or love equal maturity. And at that time, I still didn't really understand what that meant because I didn't know what love meant. So I was getting an understanding of what maturity meant, but I didn't really understand what love meant at that time. What I did know about maturity was that Paul says that he only speaks the mysteries to those that are mature, and he says that those who are mature have had their senses exercised to discern between good and evil. So that's like the level that I was at that time when I was reading that. So I knew that that had something to do with love, but I didn't really know what love actually was at that time. So um, God told me that the girl that I was like seeing at the time was the problems that I was putting her through, or that she was allowing herself to be put through, however you want to see it, that was creating love in her. And it wasn't until very recently that I thought about what was actually going on at the time. And what was going on at the time was that uh, I'll put it this way: I wanted more than one girl. Really, it was like I loved her. I loved pretty much every single thing about her. You know what I mean? Because it was different. The love that I had for her was just different. It's hard to explain, but it was. It's only thing I can compare it to. It was like wine that had aged, and it tastes so great. You know what I mean? It was like perfect. This perfect wine, but I still wanted other things. You know, like things that were more that like she wasn't really the type of girl that I was raised to like, I guess you could say. So there was always a conflict with what I liked naturally and what I love. You know what I'm trying to say? So it was like and honestly at the time I loved more than one girl. So there was a little conflict there, and that went on for some time. And it was like over time she became better and better at forgiving, and better and better at not seeing me as the person doing those things, but the person that I actually was. And she would treat me that way. And I mean, like from my knowledge at the time, she never spoke anything ill of me going through those situations. She never blamed me or judged me. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was just different. She showed me actual love. Which is why I felt basically totally secure around her, because she was the only person that I knew for a fact out of everybody that might have wanted to be with me or whatever. She was the only person I knew for a fact actually loved me and was going to show God like love. And it's crazy that when God says, I'm making her into love, that's what he meant. He gave her so many situations that gave her the opportunity to learn how to access love at that time. He gave her so many opportunities to allow her to see through what most people was only looking at. You know what I mean? So it was like I thought that was amazing that he was making her mature and love at the exact same time, because that's what love is. Love is mature. Love is mature the way a parent. It's like the gap between like it's the same way you would look at a parent and a child. A 2 year old can walk around and say no, 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 or I mean, if it could get the words out, I hate you, daddy, I hate you, mommy. But a mom and a dad should be more mature and loving to be able to see through that child's actions and to understand, just like because you've gone through the exact same things to get where you are, or when you understand how you work, you understand how they work. So instead of you taking the theatrics as reality, you look through the theatrics into reality. You see through the theatrics. You say, well, first of all, you can know that this is a test and unconditional love. This has come to test me. That's the reason I feel offended. That's the reason I feel anyway. This has come to show this to me. This is a mirror for me to see that I feel this way in situations like this. Now, I have when you're aware of that, when you become aware, then you get choice. Without awareness, there really is no choice. When you become aware of that, then you can make a choice of whether you want to go and become emotionally contracted to this dynamic, or would you like to rise above it and be the mature one? And that's what I mean. Love is synonymous with maturity in that way. So imagine how much more mature God is than a parent is with their child, to the point where we're talking about the God who created everything that you see right now out of material that isn't physical, but we can still interact with it as if it is. You mean to tell me a God like that can't take a joke? You mean to tell me a God like that isn't more mature or isn't more love to be able to look down at a world filled with immature children and not see past that? What parent do you know would want to come into a room of immature children that's jumping around and bouncing around and doing everything the parent told them not to do and consistently do what the parent tells them not to do? What parent you know is going to just come in here and just douse the whole thing with gasoline and light it ablaze and say, I'm done with it, I give up? That doesn't make any damn sense. And how much higher does God see than that? A parent might come in here and give everybody stern words, may tell them about themselves in a way that they can see that their actions are, in actuality, it's not representing the person that they want everybody to see that they are. Might tell them something like that, or might just come here and start whipping ass and then tell them why those things happen. This is what your actions cause. And even then the parent, well, in most cases, the parent wouldn't be doing it out of anger. The parent would be doing it out of love, because if you don't break that pattern, the child will go on to a life that it doesn't want. You see what I'm saying? It's like the understanding that goes behind it. So that's why Paul says when you're being chastised, you really should rejoice, because God is treating you as children. He's treating you as his sons. He doesn't chastise those who he doesn't care about. He only chastises those that he loves. So it's like, understanding all that stuff, it goes with unconditional love. But I still have one more story that I gotta tell. So I'll tell that in the next video. I won't even make this one go on for 10 minutes then. So I'll talk to you guys in the next video. All right.